Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show, coming to you from right here in Hollywood, California. I'm, of course, your host, John Campea. It's an awesome honor and privilege, as it is every day, to have you guys join us as we talk about our favorite things in the world, movies, movie news, a little bit of television, whatever tickles our fancy, as the old saying goes. And I am thrilled today to be joined, of course, by Mr. Robert Meyer Burnett. Robert, how you doing, sir?
Dude, The Expanse Season 3 is now streaming on Amazon. I hadn't seen it yet. Very excited.
You know, I have had so many people tell me I've got to watch The Expanse. You got to watch The Expanse. I'm going to get around to it sometime this month.
It's really good, and your favorite word will become proto-molecule.
Proto-molecule. Okay, I will file that away and save for the show. Also joining us, of course, is Ashley Whalen. Ashley, how you doing?
I'm good. Good morning, guys. Happy Monday.
How was your weekend?
It was good. I actually started Russian Doll, so I didn't tell you yet. It's awesome. I watched like 4 episodes. It's great. I love the song that they chose, and then she's like just gritty.
She's so good.
Yeah, she's so good in it. So.
Well, listen, guys, of course, we got a lot of main topics to talk about here today, but before we do, we're going to go right off the top with this. Of course, one of the biggest blockbuster hits of all time was the recent Power Rangers movie. Oh, wait, no, sorry. No, big flop. Big flop was that. But you know what? I'll tell you what. As much as I poo-pooed the idea of that Power Rangers movie, and I poo-pooed it, and I poo-pooed it, and everything, I have to admit I came walking out of it going, I enjoyed myself watching. I did. I had a bit of a good time watching. I thought it was not bad. I enjoyed it, but it did not do well financially.
No, but I'm with you. It was fun.
It was fun.
It was fun, and if I grew up loving Japanese sci-fi, and that was a pretty good Japanese science fiction movie, even though it was American.
Elizabeth Banks.
Yeah.
I mean, I just love her, and I thought the cast of the kids were great, and I enjoyed it. Was it one of the best movies of the year? No, not at all, not in the least. But it was enjoyable, but it did flop, which once again teaches. Remember Saban or Saban or Sakabu or whatever he likes to call himself? When they were talking before that movie came out, we're planning a series of 7 movies. It's going to be a 7-movie arc. It's like, dude, hey, your first film. How about that? How about have the first one come out? Then talk about 7 films. Of course, the film was a flop. Anyway, we all remember a number of months ago, Hasbro acquired Power Rangers. Now, full disclosure, half of my household income is provided by Hasbro. My wife is a senior member over at Hasbro, so full disclosure on that. And the question has then become, oh my gosh, then are they going to do another Power Rangers movie? Could we get a sequel? Could we get a this? Could we get a that? Well, it's been a little bit in the dark. However, a little bit more light has been shed, as it's being reported that the CEO of Hasbro recently said in an earnings call that he and Paramount, who they of course partnered with to make Bumblebee, that he and Paramount have talked about Power Rangers. They've talked about Power Rangers. Now, the underlying feeling here is that if they ever do get around to making another one, it will not be a sequel to the flop. They'll probably reboot the whole thing again, which, hey, I'd be down for a sequel to it, but if I were the head of Paramount or Hasbro, no way I'm making it. It just doesn't make any business sense. Reboot it. Now, this is by no means any confirmation that a new Power Rangers movie is going to happen in the next 5 years, but they're at least talking about it. Rob, number one, do you think it would be wise for them to go ahead and make another Power Rangers? And if so, is the best way to go try to build on the first one and make it a sequel, or just to reboot fresh?
Well, the Power Rangers was never exactly directed at the older demographic. And
really?
I mean, no. And I think that now we live in a world where people are excited about Aquaman, they're excited about Avengers Endgame, and I think the Power Rangers audience, their core audience, has sort of grown up. I mean, Power Rangers was a gateway drug. At least that's the way I always saw it. Now, if they want to reinvent it to make it more of a hipster teen thing, maybe.
Didn't they kind of do that a little bit with the last one?
Kind of, but it didn't work. I mean,
true.
I don't know who the Power Rangers, unless they're going to direct it more toward the younger audience. I don't see Power Rangers suddenly becoming this hipster, franchise that people who, are trimming their beards are going to be excited to go see.
See, and this is the thing.
I'm going to go buy my vinyl, and then I'm going to go see the Power Rangers movie. I don't think that's ever going to happen.
I remember when they were talking about, and this is back when I was still poo-pooing it because I didn't think it was a good idea to make it. And I would have and this happens all the time. These conversations happen all the time. John, you just don't understand how popular Power Rangers is. It's going to make $1 billion. I kid you not how many people told me that movie's going to make $1 billion. It's going to be a huge hit. You just don't get how popular Power Rangers is. And look, no, you are just way over guessing how popular they are. John, but when they have the fan conventions, the lineups, that's great for the fan conventions that the lineups go around the block. But I'm telling you, this isn't a good idea. And then I saw the movie and I actually quite liked it. And so I was hoping it would do better, but it didn't. I do believe, in an era where studios are really trying to get recognizable IP and they're trying to get franchise and stuff like that, I believe there is value in a Power Rangers. I do. I believe there's a value in the Power Rangers, but you got to do a couple of things. Number one, you got to keep the budgets low.
Absolutely.
Because, you and I were talking beforehand and you raised a great point. The Power Rangers that everybody grew up with and fell in love with, they were real, low budget pieces of grunk, right? I mean, that's what they were, and that's what people fell in love. Now, I'm not saying go back to guys in gray skin suits, call them putties, going. Blah, blah, blah. I'm not saying do that, but
that was the best part of the show.
It kind of was.
My friend was on the show, Christina Masterson. She was the Pink Power Ranger for years.
Really?
Yeah.
So we got a connection on the show already.
Yes, you do.
So I'm not saying do that, but reel the budget in a little bit. But I think the second thing, honestly, is you got to reboot. It's difficult. Any guy in construction, I work in construction for a few years, any guy in construction tell you, look, if you don't get the foundation of the house right, don't build anything until you get that right.
Right.
And if you're trying to build a franchise off a film that flopped, and the funny thing is, even though I like Power Rangers, there were a lot of hardcore Power Ranger fans who didn't. But you got to build on a more solid foundation. If you're going to do that, re-swing. Just go for it again. Start it over again. It's too bad Bryan Cranston as the floaty head was kind of cool. I like that. I think Bill Hader was the voice of the android.
They did a good job with that movie.
They did.
I mean, the best job they could do. The problem is the audience for Power Rangers. It's not like if you were a kid watching Transformers was still there. There's something about the Transformers that it's a very weird thing. But the first Transformers movie seemed more adult. Like the tone of it was like the war on Cybertron. There was almost an apocalyptic thing about it. But the Power Rangers, can you ever make those two words, Power Rangers, ever be cool?
I think
Transformers is a cool word, but Power Rangers. I mean, I like the movie as much as I like the movie, but it's still, it's not like the Avengers, or it's not like the Defenders.
Let's be honest. Star Wars is a lame name. Star Wars. I mean, now it's cool because it's associated with, but Star Wars. Really? Come on.
Yeah, but The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, elegance.
Great, yeah.
I mean,
but I think you can do something with Power Rangers. I just think it's going to be hard.
Go Power Rangers. How does that ever be cool?
Maybe you redo the song.
What if they're just the Rangers? Who knows?
Yeah, the Teen Titans became the Titans.
Yes, they did.
Because
Robin says "fuck Batman." It's a totally different thing.
I got to tell you, there's a Hong Kong, one of my favorite Power Rangers-esque things ever, is a Hong Kong movie that was made by the Shaw Brothers called The Super Inframan. Inframan. Watch this movie. The villainess is named Princess Dragon Mom in the translation. It is. He's the man beyond bionics. I have a framed Inframan poster. Princess Dragon Mom. If I could reboot any of these franchises, Inframan could be cool. Cooler than Power Rangers. I'm telling you, it's waiting to be revived.
Information Man. What is he all about?
He's basically like the Hong Kong ripoff of Ultraman, which, by the way, is coming to Netflix. A new Ultraman.
So they say.
I'm telling you, it's great times we live in.
All right, guys. Well, what do you guys think? Jump down to the comments. Do you think another Power Rangers is worth taking a shot at? If they do you think they really should make it a sequel or go ahead and reboot? And can it work either way? Jump down to the comment section and leave your thoughts below. With that down, let's move on now to our main topics. How do we select our main topics around here on the John Campea Show? Well, it's really rather simple. You pick the topics by emailing me your topics and questions anytime to john@thejohncampeashow.com. That's john@thejohncampeashow.com. Make sure you put the word topic in the subject line. And as always, guys, keep those emails to 90 words or less. With that down, Ashley, what's first?
Hey, all right. First one of the day is from Patreon supporter Jermaine Sneed. I was on the Patreon Facebook page and someone posted a rumor that WBDC was thinking of an Aquaman spinoff featuring The Trench. I then had a great back and forth with fellow Patreon Zach, who thinks this would be a terrible financial decision for WBDC as no one knows or cares about these third-tier antagonists. However, I feel Walter Hamada created a universe with financially successful spin-offs starring Doll and Nun, so...
Yeah, so these rumors started going around a couple of days ago about, Aquaman, big hit, sitting at $1.1 billion. And, of course, one of the elements in it was the trench and the monsters from the trench. And they are horrifying. I mean,
yes.
they really are. They were in the comic as well, particularly in the Aquaman New 52.
Yep.
They were particularly horrifying. They looked horrifying. They looked way more horrifying once everybody went into the water. Once there was nightmarish, it was.
Mm-hmm.
So these rumors have been going around that they're kind of developing a trench movie. Now, a couple things to keep in mind here. Number one, developing doesn't mean much. For every 1,000 films that get development, one maybe makes it to the screen. So don't get ahead of yourself a little bit on that. I'll tell you what my initial reaction to this was, Robert. My big thing, one of my biggest complaints, and what I think a lot of people's biggest complaints of the way Warner Brothers has handled the DC properties in years gone by has been they have been perceived as being completely reactionary. Like totally and completely reactionary to their own plans. It's like, okay, we're going to do this. Oh, wait, this movie didn't make quite as much as we thought. Quick, change everything. Or let's do this. Oh, this did a little better than we thought. Change everything. And they've been so knee-jerk reactionary that it's been enough to make your head spin. With Walter Hamada coming in, I've really had the hope that those days were gone. That Walter Hamada's coming in, look, it doesn't matter what happened to Justice League. We're doing this Aquaman thing. And then we're going to roll into Shazam where we're doing it this way. And we got a vision for more isolated films for now, blah, blah. And then we got Wonder Woman coming. And we are not going to be jumped. Hey, Aquaman did better than we thought. Doesn't matter. We're not going to change our plan. Hey, if Shazam stumbles is maybe a little bit of a flop, which I don't think it will be, but if it was, Walter Hamada is going to keep us cool and go, doesn't matter. We've got our plan. We're sticking to our plan. And when I first heard these rumors about them looking at doing a trench movie, that screamed reflex reaction. I said, wait a minute, Aquaman made more than we thought? Well, okay, let's start doing spin-offs and let's start doing it. And that bothered me a lot, and it still does. But I will say this. Thinking more about James Wan and what he could do, and thinking back about that environment and what you could do with an environment like that in the hands of somebody like James Wan, I will admit there is something pretty appealing about that. Now, speaking of James Wan, he was asked directly on Twitter, it's like, hey, you make these spin-offs of Annabelle, and you make the spin-off of a nun, and blah, blah. Well, he got on, and James Wan himself addressed these rumors. This is what James Wan had to say. He said, during the early stages of production, I fell in love with the trench and its designs, and secretly hoped to explore this world further / more. Now, I am not confirming or denying this project. So, I mean, let's face it, James, you just did confirm that they're looking at it. You don't say that if they're not at least looking at it. So it sounds like that's what they're doing. Rob, you hear about these rumors and stuff like that. Do you think Warner Brothers should be looking at doing a movie based on the creatures of the trench?
Okay. First of all, that was one of my favorite scenes in Aquaman.
Right.
Sea monsters, there's something primal that goes way back in human history about sea monsters. But first of all, like James once said, the design of those creatures is amazing. And what if, I thought to myself, where did those creatures come from? Like, who is telling them what to do? They clearly have some kind of a leadership. What if you could do some alien-esque body horror movie where these creatures maybe used to be human? And they got infected with some horrible, whatever it was. And look, again, it has everything to do with the story and the imagination behind it. But I was like, you could do this incredible body horror, ecological, we're polluting the oceans thing and carry on that ecological message from Aquaman and really, really make this this horrifying, this is the fate of humanity. We're all going to turn into those trench creatures unless we, I mean, whatever it is, just make it just disgusting and icky and horrifying and gross. And I'm in. I'm like, yeah, man, bring it on. And because Annabelle is part of now the DC universe, because we saw Annabelle on the bottom of the ocean in a quick scene.
That's a bit of a stretch.
I mean, James Wan, between Saw, Insidious, Annabelle, and the Nun film, never count him out. Why shouldn't he do sea monsters? They turned the creature from the Black Lagoon into like a lovable fish man in Shape of Water. I want to see horrifying sea monsters with barnacles on them and weird pustules and little creatures coming off of their faces. Bring it on.
But let me ask you. Let me play devil's
wanna see
advocate for a second.
I do. I want to see it.
Let me play devil's advocate for a second here, though. What about, though, this thing that they've got this new direction, they've got this new tone they're trying to establish, they're trying to create an identity for their DC world. Well, something like that does sound appealing. Doesn't it, though, kind of then go right back into the face of them saying, hey, we're reestablishing our whole identity for this universe. We're reestablishing all this. Doesn't that kind of fly in the face of that a little bit?
Well, I mean, it depends. I think you could make a movie. It might not even be tied. You don't even have to mention. I mean, maybe you mentioned for the world of Aquaman, but if you just made a horror movie called The Trench, and that's all it was. And you didn't even necessarily, astute viewers would understand, okay, this takes place in the DC universe. But you could just do a standalone, balls to the wall monster movie, creatures from the depths, and not even say it was part of the DC universe. Just that it was part of the DC universe. I mean, it's just matter-of-factly there. But I think we need a great sea monster movie.
But does it need to come from DC? And that's, you know me.
Well,
I'm starting to warm up to this idea. I am, but just as devil's advocate, it seems to fly in the face of that. So let me ask you this point blank: is that movie going to work? Not work. Is it going to get made? Do you think The Trench is actually going to be made into a movie in the next 4 years?
I would say the only reason I'm going to say I can see it happening is because of James Wan,
right,
and his track record at finding new directing talent to come on board and make these kinds of movies. I mean,
it's hit and miss. Like Annabelle 1 was terrible. The Nun wasn't so good.
But Annabelle 2 was really good.
Annabelle 2 was great. Yes.
And, my friend Adam Robitel directed Insidious 4, The Last Key. I mean, I could see, he just did Escape Room. I could see, I don't know if that's his thing to do a sea monster movie, but James Wan could bring the talent and make that movie something unique and fun. And he's right. We need a new monster. Our monsters are old. We need the new Pinhead or the new Freddy or the new Jason. And why can't the leader of the Trench monsters be that creature?
I'm just wondering if it has to come out of DC. That's all I'm wondering. All right. What is next?
I'm into it. I like the idea of a human becoming,
right?
Seeing the backstory. I was just teasing. I think it sounds kind of juicy. All right, next up is Dan Rodriguez. During the Grammys tonight, I saw a teaser trailer for the upcoming Aladdin film. I have to say I really like tonight's teaser. Have you guys seen it? What are your thoughts?
Bum, 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 bum. So yes, we got to look at Genie a while ago from an Entertainment Weekly cover. But it wasn't blued out. It was him looking more human and stuff like that. So last night, new teaser at the Grammys. Why the Grammys? I'm not really sure, other than maybe the music world loves Will Smith. So that kind of makes sense, I suppose. It's very, very similar to the first teaser that we got, a few of that stuff. Although we did get a look at Jafar, which was kind of cool. And by the way, I almost missed it. I should have put it in the graphic. Carpet was in it. I almost missed that. I missed that the first time I saw it, and then I went back and you see as Genie's popping up, there's Aladdin, there's a boot, and there's carpet standing there. I'm like, damn! So that got me excited. I did. All right. So all that is kind of the same trail as the first one. I am intrigued to see this movie. I like the idea, blah, 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 blah. Let's talk about the Will Smith Genie. Let's talk about that. I'll say this first. I love the design of the Genie. I do. I love the design of the Genie. I think the design of the Genie looks great. Number two, I like Will Smith in the role. I was always saying, if you're going to do a live action Aladdin, you obviously can't get Robin Williams back. But you can't. You need to bring that energy of the Genie without doing a Robin Williams impersonation. To me, that was key. Bring that same energy, bring that same, kind of a disposition without it being a Robin Williams impersonation. And that was key. And I think Will Smith can bring that. I do. And for the one line or two that we got in the trailer, I'm like, that feels like Genie to me. That feels like Genie to me. And I liked it. Here's the problem. The problem with me for this trailer is it reminded me a lot of Steppenwolf from Justice League. The design was great, but something looked so unrealistic. And I understand we're talking about a blue genie that comes out of a lamp. I know that. But there's something that looked so... that doesn't belong here with the way the anime... There was something really weird about the animation. Like with Thanos, and I know Thanos is the gold standard. It's a little unfair to compare things to Thanos, but it makes the point. With Thanos, you never didn't believe, despite the fact that he was a hairy nutsack chin, giant purple grimace, you never didn't believe that he was real. And the way he looked and moved and everything, he was tangible. In the few seconds we saw this, and it was only a few seconds, I understand, it looked unnatural. It just didn't work or flow or move, and I just and I rewound it again and again and again, saying maybe I'll see it differently this time, and every time it was just weird. I like the design. I like the personality Will Smith's bringing to it from the little tiny bit we saw. But if I go into this movie theater and every second he's on screen it looks that unnatural, it's going to be a distraction. It's going to be a problem. Couple of asterisks. Number one, how many times have we seen visual effects on a movie screen that look significantly better than they did on a television screen? I understand that. Yep, that could totally be part of it. Number two, they may not be finished with the final little keyframing. And really, it could just be a matter of keyframing, really. They may not be finished with all that. Okay, I'm going to go into it with that. All I'm saying right now is that it looks that unnatural the whole movie. It is going to pull me out a bit. It is going to pull me out a bit. And that part's making me nervous. Now, the movie may still be fantastic. Okay, yeah, the key character, the animation didn't look good and it pulled you out now and again. But the movie overall, the script, the dialogue, the character interaction had magic, had heart, had warmth. Okay, maybe it'd still be fantastic, but this could be a problem. Rob, you saw this 1 minute trailer. What did you think about it?
Well, this is a really tough one for me because I'm always talking about verisimilitude, creating the idea of the reality within the proscenium of the frame. And the Disney live action films have done, in my mind, a pretty good job of creating a reality unto themselves. Cinderella, I thought, was delightful. The Jungle Book, I loved the Jungle Book.
Jungle Book's so good.
I mean, and even though Baloo, the way all the animals, and you believed what you were watching. It's such a weird thing to have this conversation. And then Beauty and the Beast, because it's got so many the anthropomorphized candlesticks and the clocks and all that. There's no way to really once you've moved into that realm. I thought Beauty and the Beast did a great job. This movie, it's not just Will Smith. I mean, we know how Will Smith, like in I Am Legend, the guy can get in such great shape. It's weird seeing him with a much more burly body. It's hard for me to make that, like, that's not what Will Smith looks like. I guess he could have bulked up, but
yeah, I know, man. Watch out, Lee.
Yeah, but yeah, I know it's true. But then the rest of the movie had this polished sheen. Like I didn't believe the other characters. It's almost like it needed to be more dusty. Like if that makes any because they're in, it's Alibaba, the Arabian Nights. It's that whole era, and it looked like they were in some theme park the whole time. If that makes any sense.
I disagree.
It looked too. It was too colorful. It needed a little bit of an edge of some kind. So then, when the Aladdin, the genie shows up, when it's the genie that becomes the most magical thing about it, not everything else. And that's why, like, when everything is colorful and everything is beautiful and everything has this polished sheen to it, when the genie shows up, he just is another thing that has this polished sheen when he should be the most fantastical thing about what we see. And it was all the colors and the costumes. It's hard. I'd have to see more of the movie.
I've got to disagree with you on this point because to me, in the 58
I told
seconds,
you it was weird.
In the 58 seconds this thing ran, about 40 of them were in a dark desert landscape, walking into this very monotone colored cave where, of course, it lights up, right? And we even see Jafar very dark, very timid. The only shot
But there's a couple of those montage shots when you got to see Jasmine. And
yeah, but the only one I can really think of is when there's that wide citywide shot of the celebration coming.
Yeah.
But if you look back to the original animated film, that's exactly what it did. And you're talking about the daughter of the Sultan. There's a lot of extravagance to that. And it was the minority. And remember, we know we are talking about a 58-second trailer. We know. But I'm just saying, but the vast majority of it did feel very dark and very subdued. And even this scene here, like, we had to brighten this picture up just so we could see what it is we were talking about.
I know. And like I said, it's and with a 58-second trailer, I might not feel this way when I see all the whole movie, because I've loved the Disney live action adaptations. Like Dumbo, for instance, it looks like the tone of Dumbo, the look and feel of it is right. Like, even though it's about a flying elephant. You know, it's so weird to be talking about the tone but you've got to believe in the reality that the movie is presenting to you. And right now I'm not feeling that, if that makes any sense at all. But that could be different when I see the whole movie.
It's funny because I feel completely reverse of you. I felt like, because when you go back again to the original anime, when they do the citywide shots, it's of a golden city.
I know.
Right? But the part that pulled me out was the other thing. The part that pulled me out was the whole Genie thing, and this weird, my brain couldn't connect that I need to buy into that this is the reality that they're in. I couldn't, but with the other stuff I did. So I kind of have an opposite feeling of you. Ashley, you saw this trailer for the first time this morning, actually. Yeah. How did you feel about it?
I hate to say, I kind of agree with you, Rob. I was watching it and it felt like a little Disney on Ice or something. It just feels like a little too PG. I don't know what it was. Just like, I wanted it to feel like I was more in that world, and I feel like they're keeping like an arm's length from it, and I think it's just like a little too like clean. I don't know what it is, but it would be nice to feel like I'm actually like watching them in a reality rather than I'm just like watching Aladdin live action. I don't know. It's hard to describe.
Right, like on a stage.
Yes, it feels like a Broadway play.
Yeah. Let's bring this up though, because this is a big question that we haven't even addressed. Because in those shots, like the entrance of Prince Ali, that's got to be grand and opulent and all that kind of stuff. The princess coming down the staircase, by the way, with the tiger behind her. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh, they showed that. Okay, let's put all the animation, the Genie, blah, blah, blah. How was it as a trailer? Just as a trailer, how did it work? Not thrilled. I got to tell you what, because you just brought up something, Ashley, that I think was really, really key, is that, okay, take all the stuff about, did the animation on the Genie work? Is it clean? Is it not clean? Should it be this? How was it as a trailer? I think if that was the first teaser trailer they had put out, I would give it a pass and say, okay, yeah, you're not really telling us anything. You're not really showing us anything. You're not giving us a taste of what the DNA of the movie is going to be, which is what a trailer needs to do. But it's the first one, that's fine. This is the second one. And they're still really not giving, I still don't have a sense, other than one line coming out of the Genie's mouth, I don't have any sense about what the tone of this movie is, what's the feel of it going to be. Is it going to be kind of PG, which is fine if you are, because that's kind of the original animated. Is it going to be a little edgier PG-13? Either is fine, just give me a sense. And I got no sense of we've got 2 trailers now. I haven't heard a single line from our lead character. From our title character, I haven't heard a single line from our title character. That's a mistake. I haven't heard a single line from the main romantic lead, with Jasmine. Haven't even seen the Sultan. We've gotten a wide shot of Prince Ali entering the city, I thought that looked very good. Mm-hmm. And then we got a weird Ghibli Will Smith.
Ghibli, I like that.
I should have said
Ghibli.
Getting jiggy with it. With it. We got Will Smith getting Ghibli.
Ghibli is the best new word I've heard in a long time.
And that's it. And so take the animation out, take the cleanness out. As a trailer, it's not a great trailer. It's just, as a trailer, it's not a great trailer.
Well, I agree with you, because I wanted to see more. And the world, this is, again, my own prejudicial thing about the world, but I keep thinking about Gladiator. And there's this big wide shot in the first dusty.
In Germania?
Yeah, no, not in Germania. The first time he fights in the arena in this smaller Roman province.
Yeah.
And you see that there's this. It's a city, but it's dusty and you see real animals and people. I mean, I understand we're in a much richer area of Baghdad or whatever, but again, that there was a reality to Gladiator. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm back in this time. It's 2,000 years ago. I believe that what I'm seeing, and I wanted that. And this is, again, I was prejudicial. I had this image that this Aladdin was going to take place in more of a realistic world, and they would bring.
Again, we saw about 15 seconds.
I know, but I wanted to see a flying carpet chase, and I have this preconceived notion. And I always tell people, don't judge the movie that you wanted to see. Judge the movie that you've been given to see. And I feel I'm doing that. I'm prejudging this movie unfairly, but I'm just responding to the trailer. And the trailer let me down. I wanted to see more of that world.
Yeah, and again, it's the second trailer.
I know.
You should have been more. Look, I'll say this, though. I believe this is going to be a great movie. I do. I really believe this is going to be a great movie. But the trailer has not firmed up that belief. And that's what a trailer is supposed to do. So come on, Disney. Get on it. Give us something here. Give us something. All right. We ran long on that. All right, let's move on. What's next?
I just can't wait for all the songs, though.
Me
That's
too.
going to be fun. Okay, next one is from Brent. Hey, John, longtime fan. So I'm looking forward to Alita, Battle Angel, but I have to wonder about its budget. Doing the movie production math, at $200 million budget, the film would need to make $600 million to break even. It seems odd to me that Fox would predict that a film like this would hit that mark. I would figure it would come around $450 million. Is there something I'm missing? Why would they approve that massive budget initially?
Things are not looking good for Alita. That should be the song in the Aladdin trailer. Things are not looking good for Alita. Look, somebody asked me on open mic the other day, like, why did they approve this movie? Like, at a $200 million budget? 2 words, James Cameron. That's why. Because, nobody thought Avatar was going to make $2.7 billion, by far the biggest money-making film of all time. And by the way, he's also made the second biggest money-making film of all time in Titanic. So when he comes to the studio and says, I want to make this movie, budget $190 to $200 million, well, they say yes. They probably wanted him directing. We got Robert Rodriguez, whatever. But this is how grim. It looks even more grim than you think. Because right now, the tracking for it, they're predicting about a $25 million opening. A $25 million opening. For a $200 million film. That's the scientific term for it is shit. That's the scientific term. That's the word all the Fox executives are sitting down going, well, shit. We're in trouble. And they are in trouble. They are going to lose a ridiculous amount of money on this. Now, the movie itself, getting not bad reviews, not bad. Some people don't like it. Some people quite like it. It's hovering around the 60% mark right now. Not bad. I'm still looking forward to seeing it. But I remember that's something we all kind of raised an eyebrow at first. It's like, how much are they spending on this movie? They think this movie can make $550, $600 million? And that's not even profitable, really. And so things look pretty grim. I almost feel like they doomed themselves from the beginning by going in with a budget like this because, I just don't know. I didn't see the hook. And certainly that first trailer, I love all the subsequent trailers, but that first trailer was garbage. And you never get a second chance to make a first impression. Rob, number one, why do you think they approved a budget like this? But number two, do you think Alita Battle Angel could come out of this and break even, be profitable?
Yeah. Well, look, I think that, James Cameron's been in love with this story for over the better part of 2 decades, if not more.
He's talked about this movie for a long time.
And a lot of what's in the original comic is now become well-trodden ground. I mean, the idea of these cyborgs who are human or have human qualities or find their heart. Basically it's the Tin Man in Wizard of Oz again and again and again throughout the history of storytelling. Now, I think the technology, I think James Cameron, people forget that James Cameron has done the research, the R&D for the entire movie industry for the last 30 years.
Yeah.
All the way back to The Abyss.
Him and Lucas.
Well, yes, him and Lucas, but he's taking what Lucas develops and then figures out interesting ways let's get ILM to make the pseudopod from The Abyss, which then becomes the morphing T-1000 and T2, and then it moves forward. So this was some research and development he was doing for Avatar, the 3D, the environments, but I think this movie is going to be huge overseas. I think it's going to be huge. And the overseas audiences are more forgiving for this kind of film, especially Asian audiences where, the idea of robots and things and mechanical objects with hearts are much more embedded into their culture than we are.
That's where Alita came from.
Right, exactly. And I think the Chinese market for this movie is going to be massive. Kind of the way how Pacific Rim did not do very well here, but it did really well overseas,
Right.
and they were able to make a sequel. So I don't think it's going to be a total disaster. And I do think, I haven't seen the movie, but if I was a 12-year-old girl, I'd be all over this. I'd be like, I want to go see this, and maybe that'll help it. It's going into Valentine's weekend. It's somewhat of a date movie, maybe. Is it? I don't know. I mean, I would, if I had a young girlfriend, I'd be like, hey baby, how about I take you to a nice dinner first, and then we're gonna go see.
No.
Oh, we'll see Alita first, right? The John Campea.
Dinner first,
yes.
then
movie first, then dinner.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll do that. And maybe I will. In fact, maybe I'll do that. I'll do that very thing for Valentine's Day. But I don't know. I mean, it's they've been marketing the hell out of it. I'd like to see a film like this succeed, because when a movie like this doesn't succeed, it's not good for anybody.
No, it hurts. It hurts all the entire genre. Just look at what happened to the Scarlett Johansson. Which was what's that? Yeah, the Ghost in the Shell. Look what happened to Ghost in the Shell. I mean, and that's a beloved property. Beloved.
That had animation behind it, a series behind it. I mean, there was a lot of, and this is a lesser known property than Ghost in the Shell was. Yeah. But it covers the same kind of ground. I mean, this idea of what's alive, what isn't alive, destiny. I don't know.
I just can't help but wonder what we would be. We're talking about a 25 million tracking opening. Maybe it hits 30. Maybe it hits 32. That's all disappointing. I cannot help but wonder what our conversation would be like today if the first trailer that came out for Alita Battle Angel didn't turn everybody off. Because they turned me off, but then they won me back with all the subsequent trailers. And Mahershala Ali looks like he's going to be awesome in it. You got two-time Academy Award winner Christoph Waltz in there. I mean, I think it looks like fun. But they just lost so many people, I think, with that first trailer. It'd just be interesting if we could go back and find out how would the present look if they just came out of the gate with a strong trailer to start things off with, and who knows where it would be. All right, what's next?
Adam Choate, the Lego Movie 2 opened at the box office with nearly 50% of the original's opening, and a budget increased by $40 million. I think it's a shame, but why do you think these Lego movies are on a downward trend? Do you think we'll see a third?
Well, okay, so you bring up a great question, and let's put that in context. Look, here's the weekend box office results that we got here. So Lego Movie 2 did come in at number one at $34.4 million. What Men Want, by the way, I called it open at 20. It opened at 19. Cold Pursuit, which I said would open at 11, opened at 10.8. Wow. The Upside continues on with making $7.2 million, and Glass made another $6.4 million. So you do have the Lego number one film at the box office. Yay! Oh, wait. Not so much. There has been an unfortunate, as they brought up in the email, there's been this unfortunate downward trend with the Lego films ever since the first one. Because let's look at the Lego films here. First of all, the first Lego movie comes out, makes $69 million opening weekend, and it went on to make $258 million total. The Lego Batman movie then comes out. This one shocked me because the Lego movie was so good and so beloved and so buzzed about. And one of the highlights of that movie was the Lego Batman. So they do this Lego Batman movie, which is arguably just as good as that first Lego. That Lego Batman is so great. And it took a significant dive in its opening weekend, making 53, and overall only made $176 million, which left a lot of us going, why? It was good. It's coming off a beloved film, yet it only did that. Then the Lego Ninjago movie came out, which I was wondering, why are you doing a Ninjago movie? But you know what? The movie wasn't bad. I enjoyed the Lego Ninjago movie. Only made $20 million opening weekend and $59 million total. So you got to wonder if then they're asking themselves, should we bother with a Lego Movie 2? Nah. Everybody loved the first one. They will come back out. It's number one at the box office at $34 million. But that is less than half of what the opening weekend was of the original Lego movie, which just came out in a void and not building on success of previous films. The first one was beloved. And who knows how much this thing will make in the long term. It's clearly not going to make as much as the first one, starting off like this. So, Rob, let's start with you on this. Now that we've got the context of this, why? I mean, yay, number one at the box office. But why is Lego Movie 2 take over half of a drop from the opening of the first one?
I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that the first Lego movie was unique. And I think a lot of people were like, how did they do that? And word of mouth was such that it people liked it. It's a delightful movie. It's incredibly clever. By the way, I think the first one is equally clever, but maybe not as charming. But it also, it was a novelty. And once people wondered, I think there was a lot of how can they possibly make a movie out of building blocks? I think that was a big thing. And once people saw how wonderful it actually was, they're like, great. But that novelty is gone. People are like, okay, I saw the Lego movie. I don't need to see another Lego movie. I get it. So I think part of the attraction of the first Lego movie was the novelty of it all. And it's not like the characters are good, but it's not like you love those particular characters. You're seeing the movie as a holistic thing, as opposed to, say, a Pixar movie. When you think about Pixar movies, you think about Buzz and Woody. You think about those characters. You love those characters. In the Lego movie, it's not so much the characters as it is the whole thing, that it's the Lego movie. Even though they've got good characters, the Lego Batman character is great, but you're still thinking more Batman than Lego. Or maybe you're thinking, and it doesn't, I just don't think the attraction is there, I think.
See, I agree with you in the sense that there was a novelty about the first one.
Yeah.
But to counter that, though, then people went to check it out, and they loved it.
They loved it.
They loved it. That's the part that is confounding me a little bit. It's not like people went to go check it out. It's like, whoa, this was bad. And then they don't come. They went to check it out, and they were rewarded because they loved it, and everybody buzzed about it. And one of the greatest oversights in Oscar history was the Lego not only not winning Best Animated Film that year, it didn't get nominated for Best Animated Film. I still don't understand that, because we just all assumed it was going to win the Best Animated thing, but whatever. Best Animated shouldn't even be a category at the Oscars. Anyway, so then we see this kind of a downward trend. Now, I will say the trailers for this one did not look anywhere near as good as the trailers for the other one.
Right.
And I'll tell you what, I don't think the movie is anywhere near as good as the first one. I think it's a good movie. It's charming. It's definitely got some laughs in there. I thought the Evil Queen was quite funny, and I didn't know how I would like the Evil Queen, voiced by Tiffany Haddish.
Right.
And I actually quite ended up liking it, but it is not nearly as good. I was talking about how to Train Your Dragon 3 is not as good as How to Train Your Dragon 1 and 2, but it's only like below it by like that much.
Yeah.
How to Train Your Dragon 3 is great. There was a significant gap for me between Lego and Lego Movie 2, but still, people loved that first one. They didn't come back out for Batman, and Batman was great. They certainly didn't come out for Ninjago, and you can make the argument, well, that's a kid, really a little kid-centric thing, Ninjago, blah, blah, blah. But then this one comes out, and it just doesn't do it, and I'm a little perplexed.
I have to say, too, I think I like Lego Movie 2, the second part, more than you did, but I was also struck by, it's pretty heady.
Yeah.
Like the actual underlying meaning behind the film. There's a lot of stuff going on here that I think that younger audiences are not going to quite key into. They're not as much. It's not as easily fun as the Lego Batman movie or the first Lego movie. There's much more high concept. They're not high concept. Much more heady issues at play. About the whole idea, it seems simple that, okay, play with your sister, but when you
Let's
really
start going to the details.
Yeah, but when you start thinking about what they're doing, it's a pretty intellectual movie. I mean, if that makes any sense. And then our main character and the relationship he has with another character also becomes pretty heady.
Yeah.
And it's almost like you're watching, in a way, Back to the Future in some elements.
Let's not give away.
No, but it's a weird. Maybe it was too smart for its own good, Like, I think if you took kids that they were expecting to have that easy fun from the first Lego movie and even Lego Batman, they're like, huh, this is a little too much.
There was a simple charm to the first one.
Yes.
That they... Maybe they could say to themselves, we wanted to grow beyond that, but I mean, I don't know. But
it might be too smart for its own good.
I could see that causing a second week drop off. I still don't fully grasp. Other than, the trailers weren't as good. Over 50% drop. I'm still. It's still a little weird.
It's one of those movies that made me want to have kids because I wanted to have a discussion with kids after I saw it and be like, what did you guys think of this? Because in my mind, as I left the theater, I left you and Ann, I was pondering this all the way home. I'm like, I wonder how kids are going to respond to this movie.
Yeah.
I wish that there was like a little bit more, I don't know, of a build up and a break. Like I don't know, like for Incredibles 1, and then they waited like 10 years for Incredibles 2 to come out. I was so excited for Incredibles 2, but because I missed it. I was like, I want to see it again. But I mean, again, I don't have kids. Like, I understand why they're pumping these out, but this is like the fourth one, and I feel like they're just like we're cramming them down our throats. I just want like, I don't know. I want to miss it more.
And I don't mind you cramming sweet, delicious ice cream down my throat if it's all good,
right?
And if it's great, but
but I do have to say I really appreciated the movie. I mean, I thought this was a very smart movie. I loved how it was done. I thought what they actually did with it always fascinates me what they do with their Lego world.
Yes.
And I love what they did with the Lego world and all the stuff in it. I just thought, wow, this is really a pretty esoteric, heady movie for a Lego film.
All right, let's move on now to the final email of the day.
All right, Jimmy Culp. Hey, John, big fan since the AMC days. Hope all is well. I wanted to get your thoughts on a theory on the Avengers Endgame TV spot. I had heard a theory about Ultron being in the trailer. If you listen to the last line of "Not us," it is distorted. It doesn't sound like Cap. It does sound like Ultron. Is that possible? If so, thoughts. Thanks, and keep up the great work.
Rob, I got my first tweet about this, and I'm like, oh, come on, don't be silly. And then I got about 400 other tweets about it, and then people writing in on open mic and people writing in and stuff like that. So it's like, okay, you know what? I'm going to go back and let's do it again. So what he's talking about is, during that Super Bowl spot, you hear Captain saying, we move on, blah, 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 blah. And then the final line, as you see the silhouette of the figures walking through, Avengers headquarters, not us. And there are a lot of people out there, Robert, right now, who believe that is Ultron that says, not us, at the end. And I will say this, does that sound clip have a little bit of that almost Ultron-esque distortion to the voice? And does it have that? It does. When you listen to it, it does. But when you take that out of it and just listen to the voice, that's Chris Evans. Like, I've listened to it about 30 or 40 times. And believe me, I love the character Ultron from Age of Ultron. James Spader. I would love to have James Spader back doing the voice of that again. I would love it. So I went back and listened to it 5, 10, 15, 20 more times, hoping that I could start to see it that way too. Because, I didn't think in that silhouette shot of Thor, I didn't think that was Stormbreaker was holding. But then people kept saying it was. So I looked at it again and again and went, you know what? You guys are right. That is Stormbreaker. I was hoping to get that same experience with this, but there's no way. As much as I want to hear it, that's Chris Evans. That's Chris Evans. I don't know. You've watched this trailer a number of times too, Rob.
Yeah.
Any chance that's Ultron at the end?
No, I don't think so. I completely agree with you. It's Chris Evans. However, I will say this. So let's say you're a human being and half the world, half the people you love, half the people you've known in your whole life disappear. Basically, on our planet, they got raptured. Yeah. Earth is going to go bananas. Everybody left is going to go crazy. There'll probably be mass suicides and weird cults and wars and horrible stuff is going to happen in the wake of half the population. The Avengers can't control all of it. Well, what do they have at their disposal that they can use to perhaps quell some of the tide of the unrest? They have the Ultron Initiative. Banner's, they've got the equipment. Probably wasn't that hard to get that manufacturing of those Ultron robots up and running. And maybe in an effort, a last-ditch effort for the Avengers to try and bring peace to put that armor back around the world just to save what's remaining of humanity from itself, maybe they turned Ultron back on or something. And they needed him to help.
Wow, that's a fascinating and ridiculous notion. With all the crap they took for Ultron and how much deep regret and the world was nearly destroyed and all that kind of stuff, they would not intentionally go back, hey, you know what, let's try that again. They would not do that. I'm not saying
Desperate
Ultron,
times call for desperate measures.
yeah, but that they would not go there. But I will say this. I think there's a possibility there could be a way Ultron comes back. I'm not saying there's not. Certainly not. And I would love it. I just don't think that voice is him.
I don't think it voices him, but people have talked about Ultron coming back. And I think that Ultron has a long history of taking over the world, or at least trying to. And maybe that's just yet one other, it's part of the shit show that is left after the snap happens. I mean, humanity would not take half the population disappearing. I mean, I watched The Leftovers, man. I hate watch that show. That was 3 seasons of 2% of the population disappearing, and how everybody was morose, and there were cults, and there was all these people killing themselves and smoking cigarettes, and it was all nasty. But it's true, man. There was a cult of people. There was a cult of the guilty remnant. It was called the guilty remnant, and they smoked cigarettes and didn't talk. And that was 2% of the people disappeared. But half the population of the Earth, I mean, half the people are going to think God came and did it. Half the population is going to think that it was, who knows? And the Avengers are going to have to deal with that. I wouldn't want to deal with that. Turn on Ultron, have him deal with that.
All right, well, listen, guys, we're running a little bit over time, but that doesn't matter. We still like to take time to take your live questions. So let's jump over right now and start seeing what you guys are talking about right now. Ashley, what's up?
Chandra Sakara is the first one. He says, guys, what would you do if you find someone using their smartphone or talking in the theater while everyone else is watching Endgame? A, grab that person by the collar and throw him or her out of the theater. B, complain to the police, FBI. Also, my conspiracy theory, Han was killed by Shaw, who was hired by Steve Trevor to kill Han, as he found out that Han was harassing Giselle, Gal Gadot's character. Before Han was killed, Giselle faked her death at the airport in Fast 6 after Shaw killed Han. Giselle came out with her alter ego identity as Diana to help Superman and Batfleck kill Doomsday.
Okay, so we'll just put all that aside and go back to the original point of the question. It's like, look, I will say this: like, nobody hates more than disruptions going on in the movie theater when you're there to watch, particularly with a movie like Endgame, right? I will say, while these still happen, I have noticed that over the past 2 or 3 years, a decline in that happening. I find that happens less and less. Still happens, but I'm finding that it happens less. I don't notice it as much as I used to before, so that's a good thing. But oh my God, Endgame, opening night. And people are there. People have been drooling and waiting and salivating for this thing ever since last year when Infinity War. Look, the reality is, if somebody starts blah blah blah, I'm on my phone, blah blah, I won't have to do anything because the crowd going to kill a fool.
Yeah,
that guy ain't going to make it to the end of the first act, so I won't have to do anything. I just can't see it. And look, I am also one of these guys that doesn't like to exasperate a problem. You know, somebody talking in a theater, you yell, shut up. That can often just elevate the problem instead of settle the problem. But if I'm sitting in my first screening of Endgame and some fool is on their phone and talking and blah, 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 I will not hesitate, because I know after I yell shut up, there will be a chorus of 700 other voices saying, we will murder you if you don't stop talking. You know, so if for a movie like that, yeah, I'll say something. No, physically grab them. No, that's not going to happen. No, I'm not going to do that at all, of course. But call the FBI. No, I'm not going to do that, obviously. But I believe the crowd will self-correct the problem.
And if they don't, I suggest this course of action. This works for me. I like to lean in to someone's, close to their ear and say, if you don't turn your phone off, I'm going to slit your throat and drink your blood. And then that usually solves the problem.
That could get the police called. There's that. I think you're going to have an audience that's so enthusiastic about this movie that any issue like that is going to be self-policed.
Yeah, I agree.
I really think it will. And I think we'll be fine.
And violence is never the answer.
And violence is never the answer. All right, what's next?
I appreciate just a gentle tap, because I was in the theater the other day and someone behind me went, not to me, but to the guy in front of me. He said, "Get off your phone!" And then the entire theater was like so
Right.
tense, and it just makes everyone feel
It's
like
made the problem
it
worse.
took me out of. I didn't even notice he was on his phone. It took me out of it. I was like, "Thanks a lot, buddy," but everyone just needs a nice little gentle shoulder tap, you know. Okay. Brian Esparza, whatever happened to the Last of Us movie?
They're still looking at what's happened is popular video game IPs came out and still flopped and didn't do well. Like Doom Raider, popular video game IP and not a bad movie. How often have we said that about video game movies? Not a bad movie. Still, I think it may have caused some hesitation. It may still very well happen, and I hope that it does. But that was enough to give people some pause, I think.
I'm still waiting for Devil May Cry, man. I want to see Dante on the screen.
Well, there are people talking about it,
I
but
know.
we'll see if it gets there. But look, they need somebody to have a hit. Somebody's got to have a hit, and
Right.
until that happens, they're going to be very, very hesitant. All right, what's next?
23 Mark B. Yondo favorite and saddest death for MCU for me.
I love Yondu, and his death was pretty cool. I've seen sad. The Quicksilver one, I think was
that was bad.
harsher. The Peter Parker one, pretty harsh. When you're talking about Endgame, you can run down a laundry list. Honestly, I just watched Winter Soldier again recently. The Nick Fury death. The
Come
Nick
on.
Fury death though was very, very powerful and very, very strong.
How about Stark's parents?
Yeah, that was another good one. Going into Civil
That
War.
was pretty. That was pretty when that was shown. You're like, ooh,
Yep.
yeesh.
Yep, that one was pretty bad too. All right, what's next?
Chandra Sakara, Han had it coming.
Yes, he did. All right, what's next?
Jay Bling, only one hashtag will sell better than wife your GF on a John Campea Show shirt. Can you guess what it is? Correct answer in a little bit.
Oh, of course, that would be Bring on the Filthy, probably. I would assume, but wife your GF is a
Wife
pretty
your
good one.
GF.
I like that one. All right, what's next?
Tyler Yeats, love when where I'm working for the day has Wi-Fi so I can watch the show live.
That's awesome because nothing's better when you're supposed to be working than watching the John Campea Show. Salute to you, my friend. You know where it's at. Salute to you, and have a great day at work, man. I hope you have a good one. All right, what's next?
Sea Spice, I audibly murmured no when I saw the Lovecraftian horror before me in the shape of Will Smith's Genie. Help me, he's in my dreams now.
It's still weird. Like, to me, again, the design is good. Like, when you go back and look at the anime Genie, he's like this huge, like buff, like
Right.
huge arms and shoulders and stuff like that. I dig the design, much like I dig the design of Steppenwolf. I like the design. And I like Will as the character. There's just something Ghibli. When you watch him moving, there's
Not
just
like
something
Studio, but a different Ghibli.
Yes, it's just not connecting my eyes to my brain. It's just, I don't know. I'm just going to hold on to the hope that it's going to look much better on the big screen. That's all I got.
It's
right
going to
now.
look good.
And I need a better trailer. All right, what's next?
Brian Esparza, worst kind, most annoying type of moviegoer.
Oh, phone talker. Phone talker to me. Because, some people say people with kids. And I get that one. But kids are kids. Babies sometimes cry. And parents still want to have a social life and go out. And sometimes it's not so easy to get a babysitter. It's funny how people who don't have kids think how easy it is just to get babysitters and take care of kids and blah, blah, blah. It ain't easy. And honestly, I have no problem when I'm in a theater and somebody's got a kid or baby and they start crying, whatever. I have no problem with that because most of the time parents are pretty responsible. They try to settle the kid down for a few seconds. If it doesn't work, most of the time parents get up and take their kid out. No problem. Babies cry. It's what happens. But it's the phone talkers that you ain't got no excuse. You're a grown-ass man or woman, and you're making the choice yourself to pull out your phone and start talking out of blood. It's not like, oh, what are you going to do? Phones do this. No, you're letting it do it, and you have no excuse. So to me, it's the phone talker. What about you?
I'm with you 100%. I mean, you're in a crowded theater. You're in the public space. I mean, when you pick up a phone and you're talking in a cramped public space, you're imposing yourself on everyone else. And I think that's not what being in a civil society is all about. That's what texting is for. And when the lights go down, put your phone away.
Yeah, text after the movie.
Yeah, and if you're in a movie, why should you be thinking about anything other than the movie?
Yep.
That's the most important thing, all the work
I
people
had this
did.
annoying guy the other day. He kept looking at my nachos. I was like, the whole time he was like looking, and I was like, what? Get your own. Like, it was distracting me.
Let's be clear. There are creepier things the guy sitting next to you in a
That's
theater
true.
could have
I
been
hope he was
staring
looking
at.
at my nachos. Okay. So,
Oh, he was looking at your nachos, all right.
All right.
oh, God. All right, Jay Bling. Never mind. It was already said. LOL. Anyway, I can't get over how massive the scale is for Godzilla, King of the Monsters. They truly feel gigantic.
They feel like titans.
Yeah.
And there are times in Godzilla where I feel like they went a little too big. Like, it's just like, there's not enough food on the planet to sustain that creature. Because that creature's going to have to eat every blue whale on the earth just to live till tomorrow. Right? So sometimes, but you are right. When you look at it, it's not just a monster, it's a titan. And it does feel that. It's going to be interesting to see how they size up King Kong, too.
That final shot when Godzilla is running through the city right at King Ghidorah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, those are all my childhood dreams come writ large on the big screen yet again.
All right. What's next?
Can't wait.
Brian Esparza, Alita started at 33%, and now it's at 62 and rising.
I mean, yeah, but it doesn't matter what things start at and where it goes to. All that matters is what's the final number. That's really all that matters. Right now, we're getting close to 100 reviews in for it, so it's going to settle in the low 60s. So that's where it's going to be.
Audience score.
That's no audience has seen it yet. That's people saying they want to see it.
Oh.
And by the way, audience scores on Rotten Tomatoes are completely useless because everybody who hasn't seen the movie goes in and votes whether they think they want to see the movie or not. So who cares about audience score on Rotten Tomatoes? It means nothing. But I mean, that's roughly where it's going to be. It's going to settle in the low 60s. Might climb up to 65, might drop back down to around 60, but I don't think it's going to go too far low or high outside of that 60, 65. So it's not bad. I mean, look, 60 is not bad. In the low 60s, that's not bad. It's not great, but it's not bad. And sometimes not bad is okay. All right, what's next?
James Argenta, I think when the Avengers bring the heroes who got snapped back to life, Thanos will somehow bring the villains back like Ultron, Killmonger, Stain.
The problem is, I don't think Thanos is going to have that active of a role, per se. And the other thing is, remember, Thanos doesn't see himself as the villain. He's not like the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. He probably sees the other villains like Killmonger and as being blights and problems, and he sees himself. Remember, Thanos is the hero of his own story.
Right.
So, I mean, the result of whatever it is that undoes the result of half the population being gone, that by default will probably bring back 11 out of the carriage suit, but I don't think it's going to be an active, conscious decision made by Thanos to bring back villains. I don't know. How do you say
I
it?
don't think Thanos is going to play as big a role in this movie as people think. I really don't. I think we're going to get something that we're not expecting.
All right, what's next?
James Welsh, what are the odds Vision and Scarlet Witch have kids?
I don't think that's possible.
I'd love to see Disney.
Biologically, that's not how it works.
Yeah.
So,
Unless you're a Cylon.
well, yes.
Then you can procreate with humans.
But Cylons are not androids. They are basically their entire bodies, other than a small.
Yeah.
They had to come up with a high scientific, just to even tell who was a Cylon.
I just would love to see the conversations that parents are going to have if that were to occur.
Yeah.
Mom, how could Vision and Scarlet Witch have a baby? Well, kids, I don't think Disney's going to want that discussion happening.
I mean, it is weird. I mean, ultimately, Vision is he's a giant sex toy. I mean, I know that sounds mean to say, but he's a robot. So it's.
But he has a soul.
But he has a soul.
He has a soul.
He has a soul. All right, what's next?
John Michael Lozada, Will Smith looks like a swollen blueberry.
So did the Genie in the animated thing, though.
Yeah.
Really, So there's that. All right, what's next?
Zachary Buckler, hey guys, no AMC theaters in the Memphis, Arkansas, northern Mississippi area. Suggestions for movie subscriptions? Thanks.
Well, honestly, Cinemark has a really nice little movie club. Their movie club deal, it's not A-list, but it's actually quite a nice movie deal. And look, Cineworld, which now owns Regal, and I know there's Regals in Memphis and things like that. They were forget MoviePass. Cineworld was the forerunner of creating movie subscription services, and now they own Regal. You bet your ass this year Regal will launch their own movie subscription plan. So just hang out there for that. In the meantime, Cinemia has been a really good go-to for me. I've enjoyed using Cinemia, but Regal will come out with one here pretty soon. Just keep your eyes open. All right, what's next?
Mike Zambrano, shout out to Ashley Fly Eagles Fight. Yeah. I thought Fast 8 was a slap in the face to Paul Walker, and I'd hate to see him in the next movie. It's disrespectful, and I remember when Vin Diesel wouldn't come back because of money. He's not about family. Paul put his heart in these movies only to see them ruined after.
Well, I mean, look, all due respect, Mike, you may not have liked what they did, but guess what? Paul's family thought it was great.
Yeah.
And it's their opinion that counts. I mean, I've talked a lot about how I think they should recast Leia. I thought they should. I mean, obviously they're not doing that, and that's fine. But back before they announced their final decision, I thought they should have recast Leia. But I always said the one thing, and I've never heard a single legit argument about why they shouldn't have. But I said the one thing that pulls the plug on me saying that is if straight up her daughter comes out and says, "I don't want my mom recast." If that happened, I'd be like, no problem then. Discussion done. Discussion done. With this, Paul's family loves it. And if Paul's family loves it, I don't think it's a smack in the face to Paul Walker at all. It's not.
No, and considering what happened, I thought that Furious 7 was they did a really good job honoring his memory in that film. I mean, better than you could possibly have imagined. And I choked up at the end. Somebody asked me on my own chat what was my favorite montage in any movie. Maybe I didn't have an answer, but maybe it's the montage at the end of that movie.
And remember, if they do use Paul Walker's character, I believe the character's name was Brian, if they do use Brian in the next film, it's because his family is already on board. Remember, Vin Diesel called the family first, said, do you think that would this be appropriate? Should we do this? And Paul Walker's family said, yeah, we're all for it. So, to me, that ends the discussion. There's nothing left to talk about. If the family says we're all for it, then who are we to have a problem with it? That's kind of the way I see it, at any rate. All right, what's next?
Dominic Francis, one of my favorite TV shows is Lost. I get why people don't like it, but the characters make the show for me. Your thoughts on it?
I was late to the Lost party, and then I binged it prior to the beginning of the final season. And I got through all of it, and I really enjoyed it. Up until that fateful episode where they did the backstory of the black smoke monster with Jacob and the history. That episode ruined the whole show for me. To me, Lost ended at that episode, and when I think of Lost very fondly, it's only from the beginning to that point, nothing else. And the final season was very mixed reactions from people, but up until that Black Smoke Monster episode, I love that show.
I was really into Lost, but I thought the final season was probably the greatest audience betrayal in the history of the television medium.
Yes.
Because that show had so many interesting things going on, as maddening as it was. But man, as soon as they got rid of the real Locke, the whole argument between faith and science and all that, they just don't get me started.
All right, what's next?
Mike Zambrano. I remember when the Vin Diesel. Oh wait, did we already do this one?
Yeah, next one.
Okay. Continued the perfect send off. Sorry, had to vent.
Hey, Mike, look, I am completely with you. That was the perfect send off.
Yeah,
and a send off that no other movie could do. It could only be done in that movie under those circumstances, and they did it perfectly. And if I'm an executive producer of the Fast franchise, I'm not bringing him back. Maybe to just remind the audience that the character is out there. Have Cody, his brothers, fill in and have Vin on a face chat with them for a second, just showing that he's still out there. I'm fine with that. But yeah, if I'm an executive producer of this franchise, I go, you know what? We nailed the landing with the Brian character. Yeah. We nailed that. Why risk undoing that? And I wouldn't do it either. I'm just saying, if they want to do it and Paul's family is good with it, then there's nothing for us to have a problem about. But I'm with you. If I was an executive producer, I wouldn't do it. All right, what's next?
Mighty Thanos. My favorite Queen song is Another One Bites the Dust.
There are, you almost forget how many great songs they have until you see Bohemian Rhapsody. And then you're like, oh God, right. And then I got a number of favorite ones that are just from the Highlander soundtrack. But
Who Wants to Live Forever?
Oh, that's the main one I think about when I think of Highlander.
That kills me.
And that one scene, somebody wrote in the other day and said, that one scene when he finds out he's sick in Bohemian Rhapsody and they play Who Wants to Live Forever, it's like, perfect timing. Great musical selection.
And everyone's like, "But the timeline's wrong because Highlander came out in '86."
I've been blasting Queen all week, literally.
All right, what's next?
Zach Bartron just rewatched Little Shop of Horrors for the first time in forever, and I forgot how great it is, and just how amazing the puppetry for Audrey 2 was.
Feed me, Seymour.
So good.
It is so good. And Rick Moranis, that was Rick Moranis, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, but holy crap, Zach, you're right. It's been a while since I saw that. I haven't watched that one in a while myself.
It's such a good movie.
I got to get back on that one. And you're right. The puppetry of it and everything, it just added to the whole atmosphere of the movie and the ridiculousness of it. It was great. Yeah. All right, what's next?
Motion and Poetry Games. When Han died, I just couldn't watch. I came so hard my glasses fell off. Kylo is the true hero. Sorry, not sorry. Justice for Kylo.
Well, I mean, there you go. Look, that is what Harrison Ford wanted.
Right.
Harrison Ford wanted Han to die. He's been wanting a death scene for Han ever since Empire Strikes Back, really. And that's what he got, and he got it. I was underwhelmed, to be frank with you, by the I love The Force Awakens, but I was underwhelmed with that scene. I thought there was so much more they could have done with that scene and done it in such a different way.
The second worst death in cinema history. The first, of course, being James Tiberius Kirk in Generations.
Oh, that was bad. Oh my. Yeah, that was bad.
Why do they have to kill our great characters?
I don't mind killing great characters. Just give them a send-off.
Yeah, you got to celebrate their deaths. You got to give them a heroic. Han Solo did not need to fall off a bridge.
With
like
no handrails.
They both died the same way. They basically fell off a bridge.
All right, what's next?
Adam Martinez. Weather prevented me from seeing Lego Movie 2.
You're not missing that much. I mean, honestly, with everything we talked about, I will say this. It's a good movie. It's worth seeing. It is. There is some fun. There's charm. Just not as good nearly as the first one, but it is worth seeing, so keep that in mind. All right, what's next?
Magic K, over under 20%. Namor would show up in Endgame, BC Aquaman.
0.
Yeah, 0.
There's still too many rights issues going on. It's still a very convoluted mess with Namor, so no, absolute 0. All right, what's next?
Justin McFarlane with Rami Malek BAFTA win. Do you think he's the leader for the Oscars?
BAFTAs have nothing to do with it whatsoever. But look, I think he's got a very solid chance. I've always felt he's got a solid chance at it. I don't think he's going to, but I ain't going to fall out of my chair on Oscar night if they say his name. Not at all.
Right. Me neither.
All right, what's next?
Give Luigi a ring. Hey guys, I'm pleasantly surprised by Will Smith's Genie despite only seeing 5 seconds of footage. I think it could be a great take on the character without trying to imitate the flawless Robin Williams. Plus, that Genie lifts, bro.
Yes, the Genie lifts.
He lifts.
He lifts a lot. Look, again, I like in that very itty-bitty living space, in that very small frame of time that we got to hear a little bit of the personality of Genie, I felt more confident in my belief that, Will Smith was a good way to go. There were probably other guys that could have done too, but I felt pretty good about it, and it sounded good. I just wish it, and the design's good. I just wish it was animated better because it just felt so Ghibli. All right, what's next?
Murray Wright. My initial reaction to seeing Smith's Genie is me playing afterwards I'm Blue by Eiffel 65. LOL, but all jokes aside, I'm curious to see what he brings.
Murray, you're right. Yeah. I am almost frustratingly looking forward to seeing what's going to. This is the second trailer. This is the second spot. And we still have 5 seconds of him, no dialogue from the title character, no dialogue from the lead girl character. Get on it. Why are you hiding them? Honestly, and I'm getting to that point. Why are you hiding our lead characters' acting? Now, again, this might be a much ado about nothing. They could drop a full 2-minute and 30-second trailer in tomorrow, and that will remove all doubt. Great. But right now, all I know is that you've given us a 30-second spot, now a 1-minute spot that was half of the 30-second spot. You're still not really giving us anything. I am like you. I want to see what he's going to bring, but now I'm getting to the point that I'm frustrated about it. First world problems. All right. What's next?
Jared's reviews. Me and the GF watched Pan's Labyrinth yesterday, and
Nice.
Wow, what a beautiful movie and amazingly written. Also, I like the look of the Genie in the trailer.
Again, design, yes, I agree. Pan's Labyrinth is a hell of a movie. And it's not the movie you might think it's going to be. But it is beautifully done. It's heartfelt, tragic, frightening, uplifting, imaginative. I mean, it's all these things. A lot of people believe in maybe, yes, what's the
Shape of
Water?
Water.
I was going to say Lady in the Shape. The Shape of Water won in Best Picture, but there's still a lot of people, including this guy right here, that thinks Pan's Labyrinth is his best film. What do you think, Robert?
Wonderful movie, and what creature design.
Oh, so good.
Yeah.
So good. All right, what's next?
Angry Irish Benjamin, the super chat system seems to be having problems.
I don't know. Seems to be working, but I will check on that later. Angry Irish. Oh, what's next?
Brian Esparza, better writer, Taylor Sheridan or Aaron Sorkin?
Taylor Sheridan's really on a hot streak right now, but it's Aaron Sorkin.
Right.
I mean, you just got a track record that's
A Few Good Men, the first 4 seasons of West Wing, The Social Network.
It's just too long of a track. Let's talk again in 10 years. But yeah, it's right now it's Aaron Sorkin. All right, what's next?
The Chucky, Justice for Charles Lee Ray.
Oh, that's Chucky. Yeah. There's a lot of people who are upset that the new Chucky trailer, and the new Chucky movie is not about possession. It's about the AI and the things going. And you know what? I'm fine with that. Just as long as the movie's good, then I'm fine. You want to do something a little bit different? You want to change up that origin a bit? Okay, fine. Give it a shot. Maybe the movie will be better than the original. I'm not even a big fan of the Chucky stuff, to be honest with you. But the first one was good.
Yeah.
But
I like Jennifer Tilly.
Oh, yeah. And Bride?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like Jennifer. Good, big poker player, by the way. Huge poker player.
Yeah.
She's a big poker star, actually. All right, what's next?
Akash Telly, Jason Bourne or Ethan Hunt?
I don't know what you're asking. Who wins in a fight? Who's your favorite character? Which one is the better movies? Which one's funnier? I don't know what you're asking. I'll go Ethan Hunt, even though I don't know what it is you're asking.
I will too, because I enjoy. I mean, I like the Bourne movies
Very much. Yeah.
But the Mission Impossible films, I think, are a little bit more fun in the long run.
Yeah. All right. What's next?
Brian Esparza, Tommy Wiseau is making another movie, Big Shark.
Yeah, Tommy Wiseau, the guy who made The Room, and of course he's the subject matter of Disaster Artist.
Yeah.
He's a trailer just dropped. I watched it this morning called Big Shot, and it's not by accident that the trailer starts with "Oh hi." It's not an accident that it starts with that. I don't even know if this is real. I don't know if he just made a trailer or if he actually made a movie, but I am morbidly obsessed with wanting to see this.
Yes.
I mean, I don't know. I'm not surprised. Not surprised. All right, what's next?
I still think about when James Franco just nudged him off the stage.
Oh my God, that was so funny. So funny.
Ooh, Stubble McShave, Roma and Malik among the BAFTA winners.
Yeah, I mean, Roma's been I said it's a lock to win Best Picture at the Oscars, so that's no surprise. Rami Malek winning, not a surprise. I don't suspect he'll win the Oscar, but I'm not going to be shocked if he does. All right, what's next?
Ben Alman, thoughts on Star Trek Discovery's reckoning of their technology in recent episodes to line up better the original series timeline?
All I know is that you are looking at a table that couldn't have two more polar opposite opinions of this show. I love this show. Now, I think has episode 4 come out yet?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I haven't seen episode 4. I only saw up to episode 3 where they come across that lost human settlement that was plucked off Earth and plopped back down.
No, episode 3 was the Klingons.
You're right. So that one was episode 2. I saw the one with the Klingons as well, with the baby and all that kind of stuff. So I haven't seen episode 4. All I know is that you have a very optimistic, positive view of this show and a very negative, pessimistic view of the show at this table. Rob really does not like this show. I really do like this show. And we each have our different things. But okay, so as far as the specific question though about the retconning of, and we're not going to go too long into this, but I'm going to assume that's a bigger deal, played up more in the 4th episode, which I have not seen yet. Okay.
See, what they're doing is they're trying to get rid of all the stupid shit that's in this show, which is myriad. But they're already setting up to get rid of the spore drive and to get rid of holographic technology. And what makes me angry about that is that's not what the show's problems are. But because fans talk about it, the writer's like, well, let's bring it along more along the lines to the continuity of the original series. So that's the problem, the spore drive and the holographic technology. No, that's not what's the problem with the show. What's the problem is episode 4 is like an episode of Ghostbusters. You got a Slimer,
Hold
and then
on,
you
I
get
haven't
Gozer
seen
the
it.
Gozerian.
Let's not say it, but considering how much I've loved everything else about the show, I'm sure I'm going to think it's awesome. I love this show.
Anson Mount's the only person who even knows he's in a Star Trek show.
All right, what's next?
Adrian Palermo, better trilogy, Captain America versus Nolan's Batman.
I get asked this a lot. I always say it's actually Captain America is the better one, and to me, it's only because that the best film out of any of those 6 films is Dark Knight. But I'm one of those guys that I think Dark Knight Rises, while still good, is a significant step off for the rest, while there's a more consistent sense of excellence across the cap. So I'm going to say the better trilogy is Captain America for
I
me.
completely agree.
Really?
I completely
I
agree with you.
Disagree with me on
No, I love The Dark Knight. I think The Dark Knight is a masterpiece in terms of comic book cinema. But as a whole trilogy, as something that is much more, I think, satisfying, Captain America.
Yeah, I've always thought that. Okay, what's next?
Disagree. Sir Ivan Bennett. Hey guys, curious, what do you think makes a movie worthy of Best Picture in general? No, not talking about Black Panther. Also saw Halloween 2018. Great.
Yeah, Halloween 2018, and I was very skeptical about them doing because I don't like Halloween. I don't like any of the Halloween movies, to be honest with you. I really like this new one.
Silver Shamrock. You don't like Halloween 3, Season of the Witch? I
didn't even like the original. But anyway, what makes it worth the highest of quality? That's the only thing you can say is the highest of quality. I'm not saying the highest quality production value, but the highest of quality of you created an experience that the audience, whether it's experience of fear, laughing, whatever it is, deep thought, whatever, you created that experience that becomes unshakable for everybody. And that can be anything. That can be a comedy, that can be a horror, that can be a period piece, that can be whatever. There is no one formula. That's the beautiful thing about film. There's no one formula that makes it. So that's really an unanswerable question.
I also think that a Best Picture should transcend the time that it takes place in or that it was released in. And it should deal with the larger human truths. And it's a story that should transcend the decades and speak to something larger, if that makes any sense.
All right, what's next?
HP3 9000. John, you talk about how you work out all the time. You helped inspire me to join a gym. I have lost 25 pounds since January 1st. Thank you.
Wow, that's
First
awesome.
of all, that is crazy. 25 pounds in like 6 weeks.
Congrats.
Well done, sir. Well done. Good on you, because that's now the trick is going to be sticking to it.
Right.
Sticking to it. You're not going to lose 25 pounds a month for the next 12 months.
No, but that's dedication. That's a great start.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well done, man. Thanks for sharing. All right, what's next?
John also loves butter in his popcorn. So.
I do love butter in my popcorn.
Don't take all of his
which
advice
is
right
why
now.
I literally have a treadmill desk with my computer monitor in my bedroom, because I love a lot of butter on my popcorn. That's why I've got to have a treadmill in my bedroom. All right, what's next?
Metal Vegan. Hi, John. Been a while since my last message. I think it would be cool to have Jeff Goldblum and Christopher Walken in a movie together, even though I know they are getting older.
Oh, who cares that they're getting older? That doesn't make any difference in the world. But I mean, it's you don't just make a movie to put 2 actors together. Like,
They've been in a movie before.
Which one?
Annie Hall. Chris Walken.
I'm trying to remember Jeff
Goldblum only is in it for a very brief moment. He says, "I forgot my mantra." He's at a
Was
party.
that him?
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
I did not realize that.
I mean, they never share scenes together, and what he's talking about is putting them. By the way, Metal Vegan is one of my favorite. Of all the people that have written it, Metal Vegan, I don't know what that means, but I love it.
It's a great name. It's a great
Are
name.
you listening to Motorhead or Metallica as you're eating kale? Because I love that idea.
Ace of Spades. Here's what I'll say though. You come up with if there's a good script out there, and it just so happens that Goldblum and Walken would be great for their individual roles. Oh, I'd be down for that. I'd be down for that in a heartbeat. All right, what's next?
Connor B. Saw Alita the other night. Had a great time.
Hearing from a number of people, some not so thrilled, but I'm hearing from a number of people who are actually quite thrilled with it. All I know is that I'm anxious to watch it. I'm looking forward to seeing it this week. All right, what's next?
K Major. He would have looked better with 6-pack abs.
He's got a little bit there, but that wasn't the original Genie.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like they worked back. They didn't work out that way back in the day. In Genie Land.
I mean, he's big.
He's a big dude.
He's not ripped.
Right,
He's
but look
big.
at those arms, man.
Yeah, big.
Look at those triceps.
What about like Jim Carrey as the Genie? Would you guys have hated that? Been to Robin Williams?
What I was all for was just first of all, Jim Carrey fits that motif of he brings the level of personality that Robin Williams brought, much like I think he can, Will Smith can. just make sure you're not doing a Robin Williams impersonation. Bring a different interpretation of that level of intensity. I think Jim Carrey would have been great. Yeah, I think he would have been another guy that would have been pretty good at it. All right, what's next?
James Hoffman, my first reaction to Will Smith's Genie is that it felt too much like Will Smith being Will Smith, but in blue. It did not feel like a unique character.
But then you can make the argument that's why they got Will Smith.
Right.
And if they had put Jim Carrey in there doing that, you would have said, well, it just feels like that's why you got him. You got him to bring his Will Smith-ism. So that doesn't bother me at all, in the least, to be honest with you.
I agree. I mean, I think when we see more of him, you're going to get a lot more Big Willie style.
I agree. If they ever do show us more of it, because right now they seem to be hiding at this point. And I think this movie's going to be awesome, but that is the one thing that's given me a little bit of nervousness, is that they seem to be hiding things. And
they just haven't finished the movie yet, no?
Yeah, it's not done. Will Smith dropped out.
Yep. Mr. Hero 17, rumors are that the new villain will be introduced in Endgame. Thoughts? What villain would you like to see in the Marvel Universe brought to the big screen?
I get asked this question almost every single day.
Every day.
And I always say the exact same thing. I don't care. Like Kevin Feige will put the right villain in, whether it's a popular villain or not. He will put the right villain into the right movie, and that's all that matters. So I really don't have one that I want to see. As far as the rumor of a new villain, I don't know. I look, the thing is, sometimes environment is the antagonist of movies, right? So you're talking about, what was that movie just recently where the young couple are stranded at sea? It's based on the true story. And it's got the girl from
Adrift.
Adrift. Thank you. You know, sometimes the environment is the antagonist. Sometimes that. You are talking about a really screwed up world right now, and maybe just them trying to fight to set things right, that becomes a thing. Or maybe there is another. A lot of people are saying, "Oh, Kang is going to be in the movie."
I love Kang.
But, I mean,
he's an Avengers antagonist.
Is there any way they would have been able to put Kang in this movie? Nobody's even heard anything about it at this point. I just don't see that.
Well, it'd be really interesting, because like, what would happen? Does Thanos' snap not just go through space but also time?
I doubt it.
So what? But wouldn't that be weird if Kang, like, he comes back from the 27th century or something, because half his world disappeared, and he's like, what the hell, man?
That wouldn't make any sense, though, because
there is the time stone and the reality stone.
If you're in 2019 or 2018 when the movie happened, and the snap also erased people, like half the world, from the 1600s, then guess what? Nobody's around today.
We don't know that, though.
No, because like everybody
knows?
who's the procreation of whatever is now gone, and their procreation is gone, and their procreation is gone. So I think, no, it was just an event. People got dusted. I don't think it transcended time. I don't know.
It's a love that transcends space and time.
All right. What's next?
Cameron Belgrade, The Man from U.N.C.L.E. is such an underrated movie.
Absolutely it is. I remember I watched that damn thing. I was like, this is great. It really underperformed. It should have done better. There's still talks that they may do a sequel anyway, which I hope they do, because Armie Hammer and Henry Cavill together were great.
I love that movie.
Yeah.
I love the
Me
film.
too. Totally down with that. All right, what's next?
Sindre Teslo, okay. Ray, why? Kylo, say it. Ray, why did you kill him? Kylo, he had it coming.
I didn't know where he was going with that till the end there. Why did you kill him? Because he had it coming.
Boy, we're crossing the streams now. The streams are officially crossed.
All right, what's next?
The Chum Bucket, you cannot beam into the darkness of the infinitude of the universe to find whoever you want.
Didn't you say that?
Probably. Yeah, I think I did. I think I did say that about you can't just go
unless
find
it's from
people.
A movie.
No, I think I did say something like that. That sounds like
that's
my
another one
stylings.
of the Robert Meyer Burnett T-shirts that needs to get made. All right, what's next?
Paul M. Sorry, I didn't realize it was a spoiler yesterday. Music of Lego Part 2 was amazing, and it stuck in my head. I'm going back to find more Easter eggs.
Hey, there's the one thing I will say is that I thought the music in the original Lego movie was much better. But This Song Is Going to Get Stuck Inside Your Head was a truly fun song that truly did get stuck inside your head.
Yeah.
It really did. And on that level, but overall, I thought the music in the first one was better.
I did love that Tiffany Haddish singing the Guys from Gotham song.
Gotham Guys.
Gotham Guys. That's a really great song.
That was a good song. Okay, yeah. I'll give you that one too. Gotham Guys.
I want the
is a
metal
really good song.
vegan version of that song.
Gotham Guys, as sung by Tiffany Haddish. All right, what's next?
Beirut's Haravula. Will Smith, Hulk or Genie looks huge. Rip Han.
Well, I mean, yeah, but remember, go back to the end. The Genie was not just in size big, he was big. Genie was a big dude, so you couldn't come out here and do. I mean, you could have come out and done a scrawny Genie. Yes, you could have, but
Yeah, it wouldn't have been good.
Yeah, I want him to be big too. All
Kind
right,
of a
what's
big
next?
dude.
Alonzo Calm. Can I be fact checker Jonathan's fact checker?
Jonathan, you need a fact checker?
Well, right now I got Ray, but maybe.
So there you go. There might be an opening soon. Who knows? All right, what's next?
Jacob Bergman. It doesn't come out till next year. Vin Diesel as Bloodshot. It's the movie Sony is making in the Valiant comic universe, third largest CB universe.
Is that actually happening though?
Yeah.
I've
No,
heard a lot
it's
of talks
shot.
about it. It's shot.
It's shot.
Oh,
Yeah.
see, I knew there was plans for it. I didn't realize they had actually gone in. And
No,
shot
they've
the damn
released
thing.
pictures of him. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, I like the Valiant universe. There's a lot of great characters there, but people are going to be like, "What Valiant universe?" Like nobody outside comic books knows what the Valiant universe is, other than the videos they've had on who does the fighting. What's the group that does the Black Sun group or whatever? Who's making?
Yeah.
Those. But no one knows. But I hope Bloodshot's good because I would like to see Exo Manowar. I'd love to see Archer and Armstrong. There's a lot of good Valiant.
I thought there was also
Solar, Man of the Atom.
I thought there was Manowar talk already too. I've heard that there was
Yeah.
talk about that one already. So, look, I just think there are many other great comic characters outside of the two mainstreams, outside of Marvel and DC. And there's been a lot of talk over the years about different ones happening, and many announcements that we're doing this, and then nothing ever happens.
Right.
So, who knows? Maybe Bloodshot can kick that whole thing off. All right, let's just take a couple more here. What's next?
Paul M. The fact that Will Smith's image is so ingrained in my mind that the CGI of Genie takes me out of it should have just been his voice, while blue with a non-Will Smith face. I hope it's just the trailer.
I don't agree with that, Paul. I don't agree with that. I like the look of it. I think you can't get, if you want the personality, if you're getting Will Smith in there
Yeah.
for his personality, you got to have his face because he's so expressive, and so that's part of it. And I think that would have been a shame. Now, again, I like you, man. I've got some issues with it. We talked about that ad nauseum this episode. I hope they get those addressed, and I hope that it looks, because again, there are many examples of times that I've seen a movie in theater and then watched it on the TV afterwards. Like, this doesn't look nearly as good on the TV as it did on the screen, and vice versa. Something didn't look great in a trailer, then you saw on the big screen and it looked perfect. Yeah, I'm hoping for that, but I think if you're going to have Will Smith, then have Will Smith. Otherwise, I don't know. It seems like a waste.
Look, if it was an animated film and you hire Will Smith, you don't have to have it look like Will Smith. But this is a live action adaptation, and he's a movie star. You got to put your movie star in your movie. You got to do that.
All right, guys, we've run out of time here. Thank you so much for joining us today. Hey, listen, everybody else from Canada Rocks, Ahmed 6814.
Should we do this last one? It's for Rob.
Sure, go ahead. One last one here.
Canada Rocks R&B. I loved your promo with McWeenie joining the dark side. The captain is dead. Long live the Emperor. Fantastic work.
No idea what you're talking about. People keep asking me about this, like McWeenie. I don't know what you mean, honestly, and if I did know what you mean, all I can say is I'm going to Burnett it all down.
All right, and now for the rest of you guys all the way down, do not worry. I'm going to take these questions that got sent in. They will be addressed on a companion video later today. Keep your eyes open for that. Thank you so much for being here, guys, and being part of the John Campea Show today. I want to thank, of course, the guy sitting here with me, Mr. Robert Meyer Burnett. Robert, where can people find you online?
You can find me on Twitter at BurnettRM. Find me on Instagram at RMBurnett, or find me on my own YouTube channel, The Burnett Work.
Also,
or the website, theburnettwork.net.
Sitting over there, Ashley Whalen. Ashley, where can people find you?
You guys can find me on Twitter at AshAttack1, or my Instagram is Ashley Whalen.
You guys, of course, can follow me on social media on Instagram or Twitter, simply at John Campea. Special thanks to Jonathan and to Ray over there. Thank you very much for being. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, guys, for being here. My name's John Campea, and until our next video, bye-bye.